You would be surprised at how the wealthy dress. The middle class isn't spending their money on Saint Laurent bags or Gucci belts. Check out these 3 purses. I have 1 Louis Vuitton and 2 Walmart ones. Is it possible for you to identify the high-end label? Of course. I lied and said it's easy because it has the LV logo all over it. You won't find a Walmart bag among those other ones. It's a Birkin, and its value exceeds $30,000. The mainstream luxury fashion industry has conditioned us to value branding above all else, but in truth, most expensive goods are merely status symbols for the well-off. Real opulence is not hard to spot. One character's featureless $625 cashmere hat helped popularize conversations regarding stealth well. As you may recall if you've seen the show's Succession, many times, well-known actors and actresses are paid to promote well-known designer labels. Those who are truly wealthy and who prefer to stay out of the limelight tend to dress in a very different style. One that prioritizes quality, fit, and minimalism. Most people would think that Mark Zuckerberg's $400 custom t-shirts from Brunello Cucinelli came from Target. Even when they do wear classic luxury labels like Prada and Valentino, the ultra-wealthy can get their hands on unique styles that cover up the labels. Most people's mental images of high-end goods include well-known brands with prominent advertising and easily identifiable logos or designs. Anything from a Lamborghini sports car to a pair of Gucci flip-flops or a Rolex watch is instantly recognizable as high-end. Despite the fact that they aren't necessarily the best, billions of dollars worth of advertising have gone into making sure you believe that. All things considered, they are a giant leap forward, emblem of social standing, because they allow us to project an image of self-worth. Status symbols are valuable to humans and many other animals on this planet, similar to how penguins gather pebbles as a sign of their value and how humans buy douche luxury goods. Male peacocks use their vibrant feathers to entice a mate. Nothing changes. Symbols of status are just a way for their owners to try to demonstrate how valuable they are. Everyone knows that Jeff Bezos is rich, which is why we don't see him or other ultra-rich people guzzling Gucci. He is exempt from providing proof. But when you see a co-worker or neighbor sporting a brand new designer outfit, you can't help but envy their financial situation. The truth is that they fail miserably most of the time. People with lower incomes experience substantial social stress in areas where there is a high degree of income inequality. It is more noticeable and significant that they are lower on the social ladder. Some respond by buying things that make it seem like they have plenty of cash on hand, even though they really don't. People in states with higher income inequality were more prone to search for luxury brands, according to an analysis of Google search trends across the United States. When you plot this correlation on a map, you'll see that searches for high-end labels like Ralph Lauren and Burberry follow the same distribution as the income inequality map. Contrary to popular belief, common luxury goods are actually purchased by consumers from lower and middle-class income brackets, who make up nearly half of the luxury goods market worldwide. While many are quick to point fingers at those who spend too much, few take the time to understand the motivations behind such behavior. For instance, young black men, especially those from low-income areas, love the expensive Air Jordan sneakers. For many, it's seen as an absolute must-have, even though it might put a strain on their budget. The underlying effect of luxury goods is frequently overlooked by those who argue against living beyond one's means to acquire them. There are individuals whose social standing is precarious. A lot of low-income people can't afford to look like they're poor. If you appear like someone who has never had a good job before, it will be difficult to land a job and even more difficult to find a romantic partner. The abundance of fakes is the clearest indication that these expensive goods serve as essential status symbols for middle-class people. There is an abundance of merchandise adorned with logos, from Canal Street in New York to the AliExpress in China. Despite the ever-increasing demand, their quality is often inadequate. A person's need to seem successful increases in proportion to the severity of income inequality. The global COVID pandemic put a heavy financial burden on economies around the globe and led to the loss of jobs for many middle-class people. During a period of global financial uncertainty, one would expect luxury spending to plummet. However, the reverse is true. Tiffany & Co. and Dior are just two of the many luxury labels owned by the French conglomerate Moet Hennessy Louis Vuitton, or LVMH for short. Unexpectedly, LVMH has had phenomenal growth in the past few years. At one point, its market cap was more than $500 billion, and LVMH CEO Bernard Arnault became the wealthiest person in the world with a net worth of more than $200 billion. There isn't just one explanation, but the experts have uncovered some important details that help fill in the picture. One reason for this is that research shows that people with higher incomes tend to buy more luxury goods, while those with lower incomes tend to buy less luxury goods because they simply cannot afford them. Therefore, they also consume more to give the impression that they are successful. During this time, governments all over the globe distributed stimulus checks, which many individuals utilized to purchase expensive goods. Maybe they were at a loss as to how to put it to use, but research shows that this reflects a societal change in our perception of luxury. According to research by Bain & Company, members of Generation Z begin purchasing high-end goods at the age of 15, 3 to 5 years earlier than millennials do, at about 18 to 20 years old versus 15 to 16 years old. The days when only the wealthy could afford high-end goods are over. Nowadays, buying these items is more of a long-term goal for younger generations to save up for. Anyone with a little bit of financial instability can buy into this illusion thanks to buy now, pay later services like Afterpay and luxury resale websites like The Real. Everyone has a baby, even when they don't have much money. If you're really worried about it, maybe you should cut back on your expensive clothing. The status symbol value of luxury goods is declining as the consumption of these goods by younger generations continues to rise. Even The Simpsons, a show about a middle-class family from the lower income bracket, has teamed up with the fashion house Balenciaga. Large-scale luxury fashion labels have obviously started advertising to middle-class consumers rather than the wealthy. These premium labels delicately balance expansion and scarcity to justify their high prices in relation to the quality they provide. Scarcity is intentionally created by many businesses through limited production runs or even by destroying excess inventory. The luxury fashion industry maintains its astronomical profit margins by creating an illusion of exclusivity, which is not at all true. Many debates about the so-called old money and new money have returned to the idea that the middle class has watered down luxury. Your uncle, who reportedly made millions by investing in Bitcoin, is an example of new money, while someone like a member of the Walton family, who famously founded Walmart, is an example of old money. When someone has old money, it implies they've always had money and don't feel the need to flaunt it. On the other hand, when someone has new money, it implies they didn't grow up with money and feel the need to flaunt their newfound wealth. This age-old conflict between traditional wealth and modern wealth was most famously depicted in The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. There appears to be a social media fixation on the idea that the show's new owners are trashy and the old ones are classy, particularly in relation to their clothing choices. While the show did feature some high-end apparel, it was from obscure brands and had nothing special to offer beyond a flattering cut and solid construction. You wouldn't know how expensive they are unless you knew other wealthy people. The show makes it very obvious that the wealthy enjoy subtle luxury while the rest of us suffer from a lack of finesse. Clothing with the logo slapped all over it is usually what we picture when we think of mainstream luxury brands. However, most fashion houses, like Ralph Lauren, also have a secondary line of products that are more expensive and have a more understated style. The development of tech subscriptions is analogous. Choose between the free, lower quality version with ads or the paid, higher quality version without hats. Surprisingly, a whole subculture of thrifty fashionistas has recently evolved, and all they seem to be doing is emulating these kinds of designs. Zara and H&M are cashing in on this fad, and while it is, to some degree, simply another method of displaying a false feeling of status, it can be considerably less costly and not nearly as annoying. Obviously, not all people who buy expensive, showy things are insecure. For some, it's all about the brand, and that's totally acceptable. Brands can now express their individuality through advertising and social media. The variety of products available ensures that everyone can find something they enjoy. The practice of putting money aside in order to buy a luxury item is not intrinsically wrong. A lot of the time, people do it as a reward for themselves when they accomplish something. The issue emerges when people rely on these to project their status, particularly in tough economic times. Home ownership has slipped out of reach for a large portion of the middle class, yet spending on luxury goods is on the rise among the same people. A lot of people think it's our fault because our priorities have changed, but maybe regular people have just stopped trying to achieve what was once within reach, and these luxury brands are just taking advantage of our fears. Try to identify why you want to buy a luxury brand the next time you feel the want to do so. Is it just that you find it enjoyable and believe it offers good value for the money? Or is there another factor at play? Is it truly for someone else? Who are you going to show it to? Others or yourself?